Greetings everyone, I'm back from beyond the Pail. Huh? No? Oh, okay. I can't seem to leave this movie alone, can I? There were some little bits of information I'd either forgotten about, didn't know where to put in the review, or didn't find out about until after it had been finished. So where do we even begin with something like that? Captain Manzini was played by English actor, singer, and songwriter Anthony Newley. As much as I'd found Manzini's character to be ridiculous, you know, because nothing else in the film is, Newley is definitely the most seasoned actor here.
Do you think they bought it?
One of his first roles was a very prominent character in the 1948 film adaptation of Oliver Twist, interestingly enough, as the Artful Dodger. Sadly, Anthony Newley passed away in 1999 at the young age of 67, but he left behind quite a legacy of movie roles and music during his lifetime. He'd even worked on the score for the 1971 classic, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Should I feel guilty for making fun of Manzini, knowing the man behind him passed away? No, not at all, because I don't think that make-believe is real. The other actors in this film don't have quite as storied a filmography as Newley, let's say. Mackenzie Astin made his film debut here, coming off of the TV series The Facts of Life. Well, I've never seen that show before, so I'm afraid I've got nothing for this. I better do a hard cut or something to get me out of this awkward situation. Katie Barberi wasn't in a lot of movies either. Most of her work was in telenovela, or Spanish soap opera. A real shame, because she wasn't what I'd consider a bad actress, and she was quite the looker at the risk of sounding like a creepy weirdo. Oh geez, she was really only 15 in this. God damn it keeps happening. Many of the actors who played the Garbage Pail Kids were also in Return of the Jedi, as the Ewoks. When the kids put on their disguises, Nat Nerd also bears a striking resemblance to Grandpa. To Mr. Plinkett from Red Letter Media, who's perhaps most famous for their in-depth Star Wars reviews. Coincidence? Yes. That's not to say that the actors haven't gone on to be successful, though. Barberi and Astin are still active to this day, and seem to be doing well for themselves. By contrast, I'm some faceless guy on the internet who talks about video games and movies that nobody cares about. Who's the real winner here? As it turns out, the Garbage Pail Kids aren't the only disgusting ones with a penchant for bodily waste in this film. During the montage scene, the kids redirect sewage into a hot tub, with the pipes in the sewer clearly pointing that out for one reason or another. The reaction from Juice's cronies is this.
Brown water?
No.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Also, it should be noted that the movie's relatively small budget shows itself in a number of ways. On one hand, it's got a quaint, charming, low-budget sensibility of, whatever we have, use it. The Help Wanted sign on the sweatshop's door looks like it was painted on, but that could just be my placebo trying to find flaws. Either way, it's entertaining. On the other hand, though, you can clearly see Kevin Thompson's real arms on the alligator at numerous points during the movie. And there's a bunch of other inconsistencies too, though they're largely unrelated to budget and more akin to being forgetful or not paying attention. Not that I'd know anything about that, of course. One example is when you see Juice's underlings get vomited on by Valerie, and in a scene that follows, you can see one of them completely clean and unfazed. Here, we can see Valerie spit out the ace of hearts, but in the next scene, she has a royal flush of spades. Tessie sneezes and gets popcorn all over the theater-going normies, twice for some reason. Her popcorn bag is miraculously full after the first sneeze, too. In the review, one of the first things I mentioned was, it would be nice to know just what went on behind the scenes here. As it turns out, there's a movie in the works right now entitled 30 Years of Garbage, which is a 30-year retrospective on the Garbage Pail Kids trading cards and what they meant to those who worked on and collected them. It's also said to feature many of the actors from the movie. While it's not out yet, isn't necessarily focused on the movie itself, and may not be able to explain all the strange decisions that led to the way the film turned out, it may shed some light on things. It looks like it could be an interesting watch, and like I said, I've never owned a Garbage Pail Kids card in my life, but after doing a bit of research for reviewing the movie, I've definitely got 30 Years of Garbage on my radar now. I realize though that I left out one pretty integral part about the review. Do I recommend this movie or not? Well, I won't try to pretend that it's some kind of hidden gem. And even with the somewhat subtle pieces of humor every now and then, it's not going to be something most people get enjoyment from, at least not when it was intentionally trying to be funny anyhow. While playing a bad video game is sheer unadulterated misery, a bad movie can be fun to sit down and pick apart or laugh at with a group of friends. If you can find this movie for cheap and if you have a sense of humor that may be a little unstable like mine, it's worth seeing. I understand some people find this movie completely without value, and many have ranted about it and have expressed comical reactions with varying degrees of sincerity. That's all fine, but after showing this film to people and hearing them laugh while questioning the logic of the movie's universe, I'd say that's entertainment in its own right, honestly. Not complete garbage? Whatever, I'm done for real this time.